which leads us to the main event of SmackDown this past Friday, featuring the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the reigning defending Universal Champion Roman Reigns, and cosplaying as Motown 25 moonwalking Michael Jackson, Seth Rollins. We had the glittery jacket. We had the striped pants. He was wearing something like, okay, this is very outlandish. Roman's going to crack on this guy. He did call him a clown. I thought he went a little bit too light, but I digress. But they had a great back and forth conversation about their history in the Shield almost 10 years ago. For some reason, WWE jumps ahead about 8 months, saying it happened 10 years ago. Technically, 9 and maybe a quarter years ago, but they did debut around 10 years ago this year at Survivor Series wearing those turtlenecks. How can we possibly forget? Thankfully, that was a 1 week thing. But I love the acknowledgement of Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley in AEW. They did not blur him from the footage. He was front and center for all of the Shield's highs and low moments, including the turn in 2014 when Seth did not sell out. He bought in with Triple H. And Seth reminded Roman Reigns, I created you. Every match we've had, head up, I've beat you every single time. When I was climbing up the ranks on the indie scene and ultimately in WWE, you were riding the bench in the CFL. Without me, there would be no bloodline. Without me, there would be no championship reign. Without me, you would be nothing. And I can destroy what I created. And Roman says, that's not the Roman you used to know. I'm God tier now. I'm on the God mode level of being great. And you can't touch me. And besides, you're not my first pick for Monday Night Raw for this championship match. Hell, you're not the first pick in your own household. If I wanted a megastar to face off against me at the Royal Rumble for this championship, I would pick your wife. And the fans ooh and ah at that. Seth kind of loses it. And then the bloodline, the Usos jump in and Seth runs away as SmackDown goes off the air. I thought it was a very lukewarm, anticlimactic finish. But as we talked about last week, Scott, we really dug into the promo aspect of what Seth needed to do in order to get some heat on Roman Reigns. But both guys at this point, despite the crowd reactions, I think the fans love Roman a bit more than Seth, but I thought the promo exchange was pretty even. I like that Seth talked up the history between the two. He's got a winning record, undefeated against Reigns, heads up in championship matches. That means something. But Roman mentioned that was a different Roman 5 or 6 years ago. This is God mode Roman. You can't touch me. And the outcome would be different come the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, the God mode line, that's what was sold me. Yeah. I love that line. I thought, because I mean, he is on a completely different level than he was, was that 5-6 years ago whenever they faced off. I think that's a perfect line for him and his character. What exactly are we doing? We're not even casting people now. Like, we're not even trying to make a baby face now. Why wouldn't you have Seth Rollins beat down the bloodline and just have him make a big baby face comeback? And, the whole thing with Seth in his promo where he's saying he carried Roman, he created Roman and all this. To me, that didn't help his promo, because now all you're saying is that, well, if you carried him and he's been able to do all of this since then, he has clearly surpassed you in every aspect of the game. When you say you created somebody and they've literally done everything you've done and some, you're really not helping your argument. Now, I say all that, having them face to face like that, this feels like a WrestleMania match. This feels bigger than the Royal Rumble. This feels like it deserves a longer build than 2 weeks. We didn't get that. I don't think we got that fiery promo we were talking about, Keila, from Seth Rollins, where he really needed to lay out his intentions. And I think he kind of needs to lose the laughing gimmick a little bit. He's got to go back. This match needs Seth freaking Rollins. It doesn't need this Rollins, not this match. I like the Rollins we have now. I think the crowd likes it too, but this match needs burn it down Seth freaking Rollins, the one that beat Brock Lesnar not once but twice, clean for the title, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. That's who we need right here. And I don't know if they have plans for Seth Rollins after this feud, and that's why they don't want to turn him babyface. But I mean, Keila, you've been talking about it for a while, at least since we've been doing this show, and I'm a big fan of it too. people are ready for Seth Rollins to go back babyface. They're ready to get behind this guy as the lead babyface. I'm not saying you knock Big E out of that lead spot, or out of that second spot. Brock's the lead babyface on Raw, but actually, what is Seth Rollins? What is he? Is he Raw or SmackDown? Like, what are we doing with Seth Rollins? Like, how does he just get?
He's Raw.
Is he Raw? So he just gets to show up on SmackDown.
Yeah, they just brought him over. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so like. That would solve a problem on SmackDown if you just turn him babyface and move him to SmackDown. That would solve an issue you brought up earlier, Keila, who's the lead babyface. But that's too easy for them to do. Instead, let's just bring somebody over from Raw instead of building up another challenger. I don't know, man. I was actually really excited until I talked myself out of it. So I'm going to stop talking before I don't even want to watch the match anymore.
That tends to happen a lot when you really think about stuff. And it's like, wow, it sounds good, but then you really think about what they don't do right. And it just makes you care a little less. And that's how I feel about Seth. I want Seth that won the Royal Rumble 3 years ago, the guy that was emotional the next night, that got me emotional because he cared. I want that Rollins that was a babyface before he opened his mouth in the media a bit and kind of put his foot in his mouth, and then he got it and he won the fans back in Toronto against Brock Lesnar. When you're talented, you could do anything in terms of getting your babyface heat back, but then he gets smashed by the Fiend and he hasn't been the same since. We went through the Messiah. Now we're with the drip wearing Seth Rollins, who must laugh maniacally because he wants to be a fake ass Joker for a DC comic movie, trying to replace Joaquin Phoenix. It's a nice idea in theory, but no, just no. And he is much better as a babyface. But of course, in WWE, these roles fluctuate week to week and you don't know who to cheer. But the fans clearly love Roman Reigns. They put up the ones every single week. It's undeniable. So CJ, what do you think about this? It was a nice closer, but it wasn't the hard sell that Seth needed to send to Roman to say, I'm that guy that can take you down for your championship, despite the record saying that I should, but things have changed over the last year or so.
Yeah, like you both said, if this was that 2019 Rumble Seth Rollins, this would be my favorite thing in wrestling right now, because that guy was the best babyface. I can't think of a better one since, that was just like so super like hot over. I don't feel like anyone is anymore except for Roman, but he's a heel. And very seldom do they do baby faces right. And they eventually ruined Seth with The Fiend. I do like the feud. It does feel like a big deal. I think this would have been a great opportunity for Rollins to just kind of be serious and fired up. I saw a clip going around of Roman when he said he was in God mode. It sounded like he said a certain word after it, but kind of stopped himself, and like Seth kind of had this face, and I was like, oh, I did that. But that's not really for me to comment on. That's just something I saw.
Hey, it's all good. You ain't the only one that peeped that. There's a lot of people that peeped that.
Yeah. They caught the audio. I did too. Like, did he really say that? And Seth, like, he maybe did say that, but we're going to let it slide.
He thought he was talking with his boy in the back. He got real comfortable right there.
Yes, on camera with a live mic. Had a Booker T-esque moment by accident.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if anyone doesn't know, just with, Booker T would have watched it and be like, oh no. But I was surprised how much Ambrose they actually showed in the clips. I thought that was good. And there was this great moment, like Pat McAfee again, like Roman was talking and he kind of like laughed at himself, and then Pat just laughed with him. It was so good. You have to go back and watch, like, he was just kind of laughing at something about Seth, and then Pat's like, oh, yeah, like that, just on commentary. It was so funny. I had to rewatch it so many times. Like he's like Roman's flunky or something, but, it's just, I'm definitely looking forward to the match itself. I just wish, it was that badass Seth Rollins who beat Brock, because that felt like a huge deal when that happened. And then the Messiah, back when he was paired up with Buddy Murphy and the Authors of Pain, and who else was in that? I think I'm missing someone, but regardless, they're all gone now as well.
Austin Theory, wasn't it?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, for like right. A week or two.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's just a shame it's not like, that 2019 Bret Hart. I just jumped my comparison. The 2019 Seth Rollins, I was like, this could be like the modern day '94 Bret Hart. If they play it right, and he kind of was, but then they just ruined it like they do. But I'm still into this feud, and I think that obviously the move is bring John Moxley in as special guest referee for the Royal Rumble. Am I right?
Hey, you know what, man? Hey, you want to talk about setting the internet on fire? If for some reason Moxley just came out and DDT'd both of them in the main event, now you want to talk about kicking down a forbidden door? That's kicking down the door.
No, this is what they should do. Ready? This is really good. So you get someone in a hoodie and a COVID mask and do like the walk, like that, that walk that Moxley does, where I'm doing it now, but you can't see, swaying the shoulders and stuff. You do that, and you do the dirty deeds, and then they take the hood and mask off, and it's Happy Corbin. That would set the internet on fire.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine?
The ultimate troll job.
Here, let me go ahead and piss Keila off. It should be the Miz.
See. This is unnecessary now. Now that was unnecessary, saying the Miz should do this, even though I will say one of the Miz's finest moments was when he fooled everybody into thinking he was The Rock that night.
That was great.
On Monday Night Raw. That was great.
He had to walk down
the music, the walk, the shades, the bald cap, and then they squinted like, this ain't The Rock. It's fucking Miz.
That was
bullshit.
That was really
a great
this guy
troll.
Does not spend enough time in the Iron Paradise or Iron Palace, whatever The Rock calls the gym. Yeah, that was great.
Yes, that was
but
a
the Miz
great.
Sucks.
Yes, he does. But that was a great Raw moment for the troll job alone. As CJ joins me in the Miz hate.